You ever wonder why the average person in Japan can eat rice every single day, enjoy noodles, and still stay lean? While here in America, we're fighting an obesity rate of over 40%. It's not genetics, it's not luck, and it's definitely not because they're spending hours in the gym. The truth is, they're doing something radically different with their daily habits. And once you see it, you'll realize why most Americans are set up to fail from the start. Let's build brick by brick. Here's the reality. In Japan, less than 5% of adults are obese. In the US, over 40%. That's not just a small difference. That's nearly a tenfold gap. And it's not because Japanese people are born with some magic metabolism. That's the easy answer, but it's not the truth. Think about how we live in America. We've got giant portion sizes. A medium soda here is bigger than a large in Tokyo. We got drive-thrus on every corner, making it easier to grab 1,000 calories from a burger and fries than to cook dinner. And we spend hours sitting at desks or on the couch, scrolling through TikTok or watching a Cowboys game. Movement has become optional. Meanwhile, daily life in Japan is built completely differently. Walking isn't a workout, it's just how people get around. If you live in New York, then you know how it is. But meals in Japan are smaller, balanced, and designed to satisfy, not stuff you until you're in a food coma. Snacking isn't a 24/7 pastime. And those differences, multiplied every single day, add up to a completely different outcome. The good news? You don't need to pack up your life and move to Tokyo to get these benefits. The same principles that keep Japanese people lean can be applied right here in America. And once you see how simple they are, you'll wonder why no one ever taught you this sooner. In Japan, the average meal is naturally smaller. They use smaller bowls, smaller plates, and balanced combinations of foods instead of piling one massive dish on the table. It's not about counting every single calorie or weighing food down to the gram. It's about the environment shaping your choices. If your plate is half the size, you'll eat less without even realizing it. Compare that to America, where a single meal at the Cheesecake Factory or Chili's can be 1,800 to 2,200 calories before you even look at dessert. It's no wonder our waistlines are bigger. By simply choosing smaller plates at home, slowing down while you eat, and not treating every dinner out like a food challenge, you'll start to recreate the Japanese advantage without moving overseas. In Japan, people walk everywhere, to work, to school, to the train station, to the store. The average Japanese person doesn't think of walking as exercise. It's just life. The result? They easily hit 8,000 to 10,000 steps a day without ever stepping foot on a treadmill. Here in America, we drive to the gym just to walk on a machine. Our default lifestyle is the opposite. Sitting at desks, sitting in cars, sitting on couches. But here's the shift. You don't need Tokyo's train system to change this. You just need to bake movement into your own routines. Take a 20-minute walk after dinner instead of sitting on a couch scrolling Instagram. Park at the far end of Target instead of circling for the closest spot. Walk laps around the park while your kids play instead of sitting on the bench. Even pacing while watching Sunday Night Football or your favorite Netflix show adds up. These aren't workouts. They're micro habits that make staying lean automatic. The traditional Japanese meal looks simple. Rice, fish, vegetables, miso soup, green tea. Nothing fancy, but it's balanced, nutrient-dense, and naturally lower in calories compared to the heavily processed foods we live on in the US. Our diets revolve around sodas, chips, fried food, frozen meals, and 1,000-calorie coffee drinks. Japan isn't about restriction. They don't avoid carbs. They don't fear rice. They don't demonize food groups. Instead, they build most meals from whole foods, then add smaller treats in moderation. You can copy this by swapping soda for tea or water, adding vegetables to every plate, and making protein the anchor of your meals. That doesn't mean giving up pizza forever. It just means making pizza the exception, not the foundation. When you add these three habits together, smaller portions, more movement, and whole food meals, you start to see how powerful they are. The reason Japan looks so different isn't because their genetics are better or they're obsessed with dieting. It's because their habits stack up in their favor every single day. And those same habits are available to you. You just have to start living them. There are also some unique cultural habits in Japan that most Americans have never even heard of, and they make a huge difference in why people stay slim without even thinking about it. One of the biggest is called Hara Hachi Bun Me. It's an old Okinawa saying that means eat until you're 80% full. Think about how powerful that is. In the US, we eat until we're stuffed, until our jeans feel tight, until we're leaning back at the booth at Texas Roadhouse after eating 20 rolls before the actual entree comes out. Fullness is the goal in our country. But in Japan, stopping early is the standard. They train themselves to pay attention to their body's signals instead of the size of the plate. That one mindset shift can save thousands of calories every single week without even dieting. Imagine if every time you ate at Texas Roadhouse or Olive Garden, you just stopped at 80% instead of finishing everything on the plate. That's not a small change. That's a lifestyle difference that compounds daily. Another fascinating factor is what researchers call the Metabo Law, officially the Metabolic Syndrome Health Check. Since 2008, Japanese law requires adults over 40 to have their waistlines measured every single year at doctor checkups. If someone's measurement is too large, they're offered counseling, nutrition education, and health programs to fix the problem before it spirals into something worse. In America, most of us avoid the scale for years until we're already in deep trouble. But in Japan, they're built on accountability. It's not about shaming people, it's about early intervention. And it works. Imagine if once a year you had to get your waist measured at work or at your local clinic and were given real tools to improve it. How different would our health outcomes be if we treated prevention like that instead of wait until it's too late? And then there's something as simple as chopsticks. In Japan, nearly every meal is eaten with chopsticks. And it may sound silly, but the difference is real. Chopsticks force you to slow down. You take smaller bites, you chew more, and you naturally eat at a slower pace. Compare that to America, where we use oversized forks, giant spoons, and even hands to shovel food in as fast as possible, like Joey Chestnut in a hot dog eating contest. Fast food isn't just what we eat, it's how we eat. I'll never forget the first time I had to eat an entire meal with chopsticks. It wasn't just that I struggled at first, it's how much slower I ended up eating. By the time I finished, I felt full without needing as much food. That slower pace of eating gives your stomach time to send the "I'm full" signal to your brain, which usually takes 15 to 20 minutes. With a burger and fries in America, you're done in under 10 minutes. With chopsticks, you're still chewing, still enjoying the meal, and your body catches up before you overeat. Put all these together, stopping at 80% full, having a system that encourages you to stay accountable, and slowing down the pace of every meal, and you can see why Japan's obesity rate is so much lower. These aren't extreme hacks. They're cultural defaults that stack up in people's favor every single day. So here's the big picture. Japan isn't lean because of magic genes or secret workout routines. They're lean because of the daily defaults built into their culture. Smaller portions, more walking, whole food meals, and simple habits that compound over time. Think about it. Hara Hachi Bun Me teaches them to stop at 80% full, while we're taught to eat until we can't move. The Metabo Law gives people accountability before problems spiral out of control, while most Americans avoid the doctor until it's too late. Even something as basic as eating with chopsticks slows down the pace of meals so people don't overeat. The opposite of shoveling down a 1,500 calorie combo in 8 minutes at a drive-thru. None of these things are extreme. They're small, repeatable, sustainable. And that's the real takeaway. You don't need to move to Tokyo to get lean. You just need to start stacking the same kind of habits in your own life. Eat a little less without obsessing. Move more by default, not just in the gym. Build your meals on real food instead of processed junk. Because at the end of the day, staying lean isn't about hacks or shortcuts. It's about building an environment where the healthy choice is the easy choice. Do that long enough, and you'll see the same results, no matter where you live. If this broke down why Japan stays so lean while America struggles, I want to hear your thoughts. Which of these habits could you start today? Drop it in the comments. I read every one. And if you're ready for more practical videos on fitness, nutrition, and building discipline that lasts, hit that subscribe button. Every week, I share exactly what works to help you get lean and stay lean. And remember, you don't need to move across the world to get results. You just need the right habits stacked daily. Build them brick by brick and burn the excuses for good. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.